Good evening, students. Today's session is about using diagrams and visual aids in reports. Reports, when I say reports, it can be a business report. Tomorrow, when you are going to join the business organization, you will have to present a lot of information. So, it could be in the business reports. It could be also in your academic reports when you are submitting your project reports to the faculty. There you can include these tools and beautify your project reports. And obviously, when I mention reports, it is with respect to your SIP also. When you are going to submit your SIP at the end of 2 months internship when you undergo in a business organization. Now, these are some tools which are quite widely available in your Word document, and you have to just do simple as use these tables. Now, how do I insert the table is one of the basic thing. Go on to the insert, go on to the tables, the number of tables which I need. Supposedly, I need only two, 2 into 2. I just choose that, and I what you see here is if I want to take it to center, I can take it to center, and I can adjust the height, weight, width, and all. And in this design, there is a lot of options. You can go through it. And I just want to show in my research which I've conducted that number of male and female respondents. Now, the number of male respondents were out of 100 is 70, and out of the remaining were females. So, out of 100. I just want to say that number of males is 70 and number of females is 30. Now what you see here is it is automatically taken the uh, table number uh, because I've added that, or probably you can do it in reference section also. Just have to say insert caption, and it automatically takes whatever caption you want to say. Supposedly you want to add the table or figure or equation, it automatically takes the number. If you are adding the second table, it automatically takes it as a second table. So I'll just show you table number 1, and what is to be written is you this is with respect to gender of the respondents in my study. So this is how I have to title it, and I have to label each of the tables. Now this is more important that I have to label the table now that we have done it, and as and when I do the table of contents and list of tables and list of figures, this table automatically generates and tells me the page number also, corresponding page number also. Now you also have to make sure that the column heads and if there are any subheadings have to be answered. Now this is how do I beautify this? You can probably go ahead and have a bold with this, and if there are any particular information onto the left hand side, onto the right hand side, you need to highlight that in your use of tables. Now each table, supposedly I'm adding the second table after this. Now I want to say the age group. Now I just go to insert, I say, and here I take the age groups. Now what you see here is automatically the table number is come, and as we have the table number 1, which is gender of respondents, here we have the age group of the respondents. Now in if it is not automated, as I said some time back, you can go to a reference heading, and in the and in that you can probably go to insert caption, and you just have to select that, and it automatically takes the next table. Now the age group, and supposedly I am adding frequency here. Sorry for this spelling. You can beautify it as you want, just showing it in a very rough way. You can probably, now I'll take it as the center, and I would want everything at the okay. So the age group, I'm just randomly taking it. Is 18 to 25, say about 25 people. 26 to say 35, it might be about 20 people. And if there are 36 to 55, It is about another 20 people, and more than 6, or I can write it like this also. 46 and above. Okay, and this is 40, 65. So we have rest 35 numbers. So this is also a way to go ahead and add your data. Now, as and when you add, as and when you insert the table number is generated automatically. And when you are in the project report, when you are inserting the list of tables and list of figures, it automatically tells you the corresponding the name of the table, the whatever name we have given here, uh, the age of the respondents here as table number 2. So it says that table number 2 and age of the respondents, and here the table 1 is gender of the respondents, and the corresponding page numbers is automatically generated when you insert the. Now, how do I insert? Again, I go to the reference, and here there is, supposedly I want to add the list of tables here. I just go here under the reference section, and I say insert table of figures, and I choose the pattern which I would want, and it automatically tells me like table number 1, gender of the respondents, page number 1. If I have to take this to second page, now I'll just take it, redo it, just to show. Now that I've taken it to page number 2, will it correspond? It automatically takes. So table number 1, gender of the respondents, page number 2, and age of the respondents is page number 2 again. And whatever you name it in onto the top, that has been automatically coming here. So this is one of the features which you can use it in your reports, and you can modify these titles based on whatever the table are. And again, if I don't want this color, I can modify that too. Just so what's important here is use of tables, and when you're using you will have to number all the tables and label each table, and make sure that the column heads and subheads, if any, are to be now, as I've said here, male and female, and the respective frequencies are to be shown, and the row heads, the column heads have to be, if there are any row heads and column heads, make sure that it has been utilized in your report. Now, the next thing which we are going to see is something which with respect to the footnotes and the endnotes. Now, this is two tools which are available again in Word document, and not many people want to use it. Now, what is footnote? It is an additional piece of information which is printed at the bottom of the page. And what is endnotes? It is a note printed at the end of the book or a section of the book. Supposedly at the end of the chapter, somebody would want to write it some piece of information. They can write it at the end note. Now, this piece of information, this additional piece of information, be it in the footnote or end note, is utilized in a very nice way. And a lot of researchers, a lot of people in across the globe, what I've seen is they tend to utilize both footnotes as well as endnotes, and there are different understanding. Why do we have to use a footnote, and why do we have to use an endnote? Now, this footnote is, as her research says, one of the papers talks about that footnotes are widely accepted because anyone would want to seek information. He can probably go at the end of the page itself, and he would further take more information from that place itself rather than turning pages and going to the end. But there are debates where endnotes are also being utilized in a nice way. These footnotes and endnotes generally are seen in a lot of textbooks. Otherwise, also in your research papers, it can be utilized. I'll just give an example of how to insert the footnote. Again, I have to go to the reference section, and in reference section there is something called as insert footnote, and I just have to click on that insert footnote. Now the footnote is, as I said some time back, it's a piece of information which is printed at the bottom of the page. So on the same page you would have footnote which is placed there. Now how do we do it? We just say insert footnote, and there is one number which corresponds, and if I'm writing about say 2 footnotes, um, I'm just giving an example, and I say insert second footnote. So as and when you add say about 3-4 footnotes also in the same page, the piece of information would come in. Now if, any additional piece of information which I would like to give here can be typed. Now I'm just writing it for number 1, and I would write it as a piece a piece of information used at the bottom, sorry for the spelling mistake, bottom of the page. Now this is the footnote. Now if this documents end say about now this documents end at the 7th page, so if I have to add a end note, it's the process is similar. I have to go to the reference section, and in the reference section there is something called as insert end note. Now this can be used like a comment or a citation, as the Microsoft Word says, and it is something, a piece of information which is given at the end of the section. Now as I said, you just have to go to the reference section and insert endnote. Now if I click on endnote, it takes me at the last page, that is page 7 of 7. What we see here, we are at the page of 7 of 7, and the endnote can be inserted like this: note printed at the end of the book or a section of the book. Now this is all about the endnote, and this is how. Now if this is the endnote and the footnote, and this is also quite important information which is available. Now you see the difference. This is taken in a Roman number, and this is the footnotes is taken in the regular numbers. Now if I have to add only one footnote, generally what happens in a research paper, if you have seen the first first page of the research paper, now the footnotes are being inserted there. Supposedly I say I'm just giving an example. I say Marshall Bourgon, and I say number 1, and supposedly along with me a student is also written the paper. So I say insert footnote, the determinable text. I would want to give basic information that I am assistant professor at Global Business School, Hubli, and the student at Global Business School, Hubli. Now, what happens is, as you see here, the footnote is being used, and in research papers, a lot of times you've seen that the footnote is being used in this way, where as and when the additional information about a particular person, the author or anybody is to be inserted, can be inserted, and similarly any other piece of information which you find which is quite relevant should be added in the same page, so that the person who is reading it can go through and avail more information. And similarly, the end note is been added at the end of the notes. The difference is one comes immediately in the same page and the other comes at the end of the book or end of the section wherever you are heading. This is about the footnote and endnotes. This is also a wonderful tool. Please use it. The next thing which we are going to go through is use of graphs in reports. Now, there are multiple graphs. The graphs which we are going to speak of is the bar graphs, be it the segmented bar graphs, be it line graphs or pie charts, and histogram. These are about five which we are going to speak, which is quite useful in your reports. And this is how it would look like. Now, the first one we are going to speak of is the bar charts, the bar graphs, as it has been called as. What is it? It's a way to visually represent the qualitative data which is available. And this qualitative or categorical data occurs when the information concerns a trait or attribute and are numerical in nature. Now, we take a particular segment and we say that a particular trait and we talk about that particular information in numerical. Now, this kind of a graph emphasizes the relative size of each of the categories being measured by using vertical or a horizontal. Now, what you see here is a horizontal bar as well as a vertical bar. Both are been shown here in the picture, what you see. And each trait corresponds to a different bar. Now, what you see here is the each bar which has been shown in the figure onto the left is the government says 89 people, non-profit 57, foundation is 37, consulting is 28, and others. So similarly, on a scale of 0 to 100, what you see here into the horizontal figure is each trait corresponds to a different bar. Similarly, what you see here onto the right is a vertical bar chart. And here again, the age groups and the number of people corresponding in that particular category has been taken into consideration. And again, 0 to 100 is been shown, and 0 to 100 is been shown. Now, younger than 30 is there are 19 people, 30 to 39 is 28 people, 40 to 49 is 57 people, 50 to 59 is 89 people, and 60 or older is about 37 people. So this is how a bar chart can be used. By just looking at the bar chart, it is easy to tell which set of data dominates the other. And as we see here into the first is a lot of government, that is 89 people are dominating the others. And here we see here is 50 to 59 age group people are of 89. So very easily, anybody who looks into the reports can easily make a category that who's dominating the other looking into the bar. The larger the category, the bigger the data, and the corresponding bar also would be bigger in nature. So this is the bar chart. Now the second thing what we are going to see is the segmented bar chart. Now segmented bar chart is it is also called as stack bar chart. Now, stack bar graphs or segmented bar charts, both are similar. It is synonymally used. Now, what does it show? Now, what you see here is a simple bar diagram. Now, this corresponding value is about, there are 6 people who are responding to a particular scale. And we really don't know what percentage it reflects. So what segmented bar chart does is it shows the percentage of the whole of each group and are plotted by a percentage of each value to the total amount in each group. Now, what does this make is this makes it easier to see the relative difference between the quantities in each group. Okay, so I'll just show you how it looks like. Here it is. Now, what you see here is it shows the things in the percentage. Out of the 100 percentage, I know what is the first percentage, what is the second percentage, what is the third percentage, and what is the fourth. Now, what you see here is a simple bar chart onto the top. The 6 people, I know 1 to 1 2 is the value scale, but unfortunately, I'm not able to make anything out of it. Now, in this segmented bar chart, I can probably make a difference at 16.1, 16.7 percentage and 33.3 percentage. So this all bar charts are been regulated to a scale of 100 percentage, and then a difference is being shown there. So it is easy to make the segmented bar chart or the stack bar chart. Now, one of the disadvantages for this is it becomes difficult with more segments. If I have about 20 segments here, then it becomes difficult because stacking the data for 100% and then showing difference becomes very difficult for any individual. The next one is the line charts. And what are line charts or the line graphs? Line chart is used to represent data over a continuous time span. Now, what you see here is something very easy to know, that over a period of time, what is my sales, okay, of a particular segment. Now, the data values are plotted as points that are connected using the segments. Now, what you see here is there are different points at a particular sale. So, January, we have a particular point. February, we have a particular point. March, we have a particular point. April, we have a particular point. May and simultaneously, June also has a particular point. Now, these are being plotted, and it gets easily get connected with the now the next is to identify the trends and spot spikes and dips. Now, from this line charts, what I see is my sales dipping, or is my sales actually doing good? So, looking into the charts, I can very easily make where is my sales coming from, and which category is doing good. So, this information or this line chart is uh, is a nice piece of information and can be used, be it for a single line or be it for multiple lines. Now, what I've shown here in the example is of multiple lines. So, what you can do is one can see patterns over a time. Now, this is being used over a period of time. Now, what period of time what we are seeing is the 6 months, so January to June. So, 6 months period of time, the data is being plotted across onto the line charts. And this is a very nice tool for someone to look at the share price. What is the share price for the last 6 months or last say 1 year, and what has been the fluctuation, whether it has been onto the higher side or lower side, and comparison can be made very easily. Okay, and there are, it can be also used for weathers, yesterday's weather report, today's weather, what is the degree Celsius, how is it increasing, decreasing. So through this line charts, very nice piece of information is available, but this is only this comes only when you have data which is over a period of time. The next chart which we are going to look at is the pie chart. Now, a pie chart is a circular chart divided into different portions, and each part represents a proportionate part of the total value of a pie. Now, why is it called as pie? Because it represents the entire 100%. Now, this website visits is example which I've taken here. Now, this becomes 100%, and in this 100%, what is the percentage of organic visits, group Google, Facebook, Twitter, referrals, Pinterest, and email marketing. So percentage wise, I will or any piece of information which a person wants to go through can very easily be traced upon. Now, this is a nice tool when you are using it for a total value, that is everything is on the 100%, and in that 100%, you will be able to go through each division percentages. Okay, the next one, and this is the last one, is the histograms. And what is a histogram? It is something similar to what is there in the bar chart, but histograms are histogram groups numbers into a range. Now, I'm going to show you how it actually does. Now, it is also a graphical display of data using bars of different heights, and the height of each bar shows how many fall into each range. Now, what you're seeing here is supposedly I want to calculate I want to calculate the height of each individual of say about a class of 120 students. Now, not everyone would be into the similar height, so everyone would have a different height. So what what I've done here is I've just put the data onto that, and I have categorized it, and the categorization is based on as a range here is anything between 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, and this is how until 140 data has been calculated. Now, what you see here into the example is it's in a picture, the horizontal axis is a continuous number, like so 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. 130 and 140. Only when this kind of information is available over a period of time, we tend to take histograms, and histogram is being used. Now, with this, I would want to end today's session. And if you have any queries, please do call me or email me. Thank you.